So, I'm sure many of you know about the game between the Cowboys and the Lions in Week 17 of the 2023 NFL season, a game where the Cowboys, frankly, got a controversial win. Basically, for those that don't know, the Cowboys were up 20-13 with a minute to a minute and a half left in the game, but the Lions were driving down the field and they eventually got the potential game-tying touchdown. But because they have Dan Campbell as their head coach, they're super gutsy. They decided they would want to win the game. They wanted to go for two and not go to OT. And yeah, that's what they did. So basically, number 68, Taylor Decker, reported as eligible, and he caught the game-winning two-point conversion, right? Or so everyone thought. They supposedly took the lead with 10 to 15 seconds left in the game and gave Dallas a need for a game-winning drive. Well, no, because apparently the refs mistook number 70 for Taylor Decker, or the other way around, however it works. And the Lions clearly were not very happy about this, and they needed to either kick a PAT or go for another two-point conversion. They decided to do it two more times, and the final time they failed to get it, and the Cowboys hung on for a narrow but controversial win. But hey, the Cowboys got a win, right? They got the tiebreaker over the Lions in case they were going to have the same record at the end of the season. They got higher seeding. They were more likely to get the 2 seed. Everything's good, right? Well, not exactly. In today's video, I'm going to explain how Dallas's controversial win over Detroit ultimately screwed them come playoff time. So before we get to the Cowboys' inevitable playoff choke, we must first touch on two other teams in the NFC, that being the Los Angeles Rams and my Green Bay Packers. So after Week 17, the Rams had already clinched a playoff spot, but the Packers were looking to get into the playoffs. So the Rams were either going to be the 6th seed if they won, or the 7th seed if they lost and Green Bay won. But regardless, they were in the playoffs. But Green Bay, they needed a win to be in. If they didn't, they were going to go home with no playoffs. So what actually happened was the Rams came back from a 20-7 deficit at halftime with Carson Wentz at the helm against Sam Darnold's 49ers. Both teams benched their starters. And he led them to a 21-20 win, while the Packers beat the Bears 17-9 to get into the playoffs. So that leaves us with the Cowboys as the 2 seed and the Lions as the 3 seed with that Week 17 game, and the Rams as the 6 seed and the Packers as the 7 seed. So that means the Rams go into Detroit with the Stafford reunion, and the Packers go into Dallas with a McCarthy reunion. Storyline was amazing. So, because the Cowboys got that win over Detroit, they got the higher seeding, but instead of playing the Rams, they played Green Bay. And in recent years, the Packers have become the bane of the Cowboys' existence, along with the 49ers. And admittedly, to the surprise of many, but surprising to absolutely nobody when you realize just how bad the Cowboys have been in the postseason since 1995, they let out a massive L, and they took a huge beating versus my Green Bay Packers, the first 7 seed to ever win a playoff game. It was just sheer embarrassment. When you realize how close they've gotten to the 49ers, we thought that was the worst it could get. But this was even worse. This was even worse, my friends. And don't even give me that about how it was 48-32. Those last 2 touchdowns were garbage time when the defense got a little too conservative. Dak sucked in this game. He was awful. Horrible. And while the Cowboys are yet again trying to clean up the massive mess they've made for the past 30 years, I'm here sitting left to wonder how things could have turned out if they got to play the Rams or if they beat the Packers. I think in both scenarios, if they beat the Packers or if they got to play the Rams and beat them, they would have faced, I believe, the Buccaneers, who their last playoff win came against. So they could have made it to the NFC Championship because the 49ers were the 1 seed, so the only way they would have faced each other was in the NFC Championship. But yet again, in the wild card, they had another embarrassing playoff upset, this time worse than the last 2. And besides Cowboys fans, NFL fans are eating this up. We are loving it. How about them Cowboys? Am I right?